Do you remember the first story that was so spellbinding that it drove you to break the rules and stay up all night? To keep reading, keep listening, keep playing? So good you forgot your life and lived there?
So good that the moment it ended, you asked yourself, what next?
Welcome to the Flore. Our goal is to take you back, take you deeper, to explore and understand more, and relive that childlike wonder.
Join us as we dive deep into humanity's greatest stories, no matter how they are told, through books, movies, television, even games.
One of us does an in-depth research on our topic. One of us is familiar with the topic.
And one of us knows nothing. So the right questions will always be asked and will be addressed for anyone coming into the topic, regardless of how much you know.
Enjoy another world, another adventure, another spellbinding story. Join us on the Flore.
Welcome to another DCAU episode. We are now talking about the DCAU movie, The Son of Batman. If you can't tell, it's about the son of Batman. Joe?
I would say the first thing we want to bring up is we are in New 52. If you haven't heard our episode on this, you need to go there because otherwise you're going to be massively confused on the fact that Batman even has a son. Because if I remember correctly, Batman has 4 children, depending on what universe you're in. In all the other universes, there are no children of Batman. So,
Right, that's what I'm familiar with.
In the New 52, Batman has a son that he is going to learn about today.
Oh, so it's not like he was in the delivery room.
Yeah, so Aaron will correct me if I'm wrong. So essentially what happens, I guess, in the background is that the League of Shadows decides that Batman is Earth's greatest warrior who is not a metahuman, right? With no superpowers. Like Batman is the best of the best. And they want him to lead the League of Shadows, and he doesn't want to. And he doesn't want anything to do with them because he doesn't like the way they do things. So then they get Talia to drug him and essentially rape him so that they can have the son of Batman lead the League of Shadows one day. Right?
Oh.
Yep.
Oh,
like, yeah.
Okay.
They're like, if we can't have you, we're going to steal your genes.
And so his grandfather is Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never watched any Batman movies ever, I appreciate you listening to this nerdy podcast about Batman because I don't know why you would if you don't like Batman up until this point.
But
however,
this is the organization that teaches him his awesome
Ra's al
combat.
Ghul is the head of the League of Assassins or League of Shadows,
Mm-hmm.
and they basically run the world to some degree.
They're like an underground organization that sways people's opinions this way or that way, and
manipulating political organizations.
The Bene Geseret of the DC universe.
The Bene Geseret of the DC. Yes, that's
okay.
it.
All right,
you can be male in this one.
right.
So it's a little different. DC is more inclusive.
Okay, so my first question coming in is the only thing I know about Talia coming into the Son of Batman is that is Ra's al Ghul's daughter, right? And so, like, I don't understand like the whole history and relationship between her and Batman coming in.
So let me explain something to you about how humans operate, Joe. So really powerful, successful, focused man that does not want to be distracted. Really powerful, focused woman who wants the attention of said man. There's some give and take there. You know, did
they have a love relationship?
They had a complex hit on each other relationship.
Okay.
Depending on what you want to glean from it, because they didn't delve that deeply into it. There are comics where they did.
I was going to say, like, bring in some of the comics because we don't get a lot
in the
Son of Batman.
In the Batman Arkham games, You wanted me to go more? Okay.
Yeah.
In the Batman Arkham games, they talk of their relationship and having one. So they don't really have anything at that point, but they had been hot and heavy. And so it seems like
okay, so it's
with the dialogue here,
it's off screen, right? There is a relationship between Batman and Talia, but in the comics, in the games, we never actually see it. It's only talked about it that it happened.
Yes, and so you kind of get to decide what that was like, whether they really liked each other, whether they just decided it wasn't going to work, whether she just likes to distract him and he's like, no, I guard the night. Or
I guard the night.
It kind of feels like a relationship between two rogues. Like they're going to lie to each other. They're going to steal from each other, but they kind of like each other.
Except Batman's not a rogue. He's just does rogue.
Batman's a rogue.
No, but he doesn't really like steal or kill, or I guess he does kind of steal evidence and stuff.
He's always breaking into places, always sneaking around.
Gets into places. I kind of argue
gets into places. All right.
But he also actually does lie. So I guess there's two rogues. I was trying to argue that Batman's more like lawful good. He's neutral good.
He's definitely not lawful good.
Or lawful neutral. Like,
he is not lawful.
Well, he's not lawful.
Vigilante.
Well, I guess one way to look at
works
lawful
with
is
the law.
True to their own code, right? Like if you have a code and you follow it, that's lawful. So I guess in that way, Batman is lawful. Like I
would argue that
code.
he is super lawful. He thinks the system needs to be upheld. He just fights outside the system.
The list of crimes he has committed in Gotham City is long.
No, that's not this episode though.
Right. Back to the episode, Son of Batman.
Yeah, so he's not a rogue. Joe, where are we at?
The story really begins when Batman's son is in his adolescent years, Robin, right? Robin age. It's there when it picks up, but I did want to kind of clarify that Talia relationship because not a lot of is covered on screen, and because we're in the New 52, you got to kind of glean a lot of pieces from the other universes, being like, there's got to be some overlap here in understanding that. But yeah, so it begins with the death of Ra's al Ghul. The guy who was going to lead the League of Assassins until they found Batman is ticked that they overlooked him and then still didn't get the job even after Batman turned them down. They're like, you turned us down? It's like, he's still the best. We just need a son. That's,
we want his heir.
Yeah. So instead of going to the second place guy, it goes to the creation of Batman's heir, and that pisses off number 2, right? He's like, seriously, even when he turns you down, I can't be number 2?
You're gonna pick a baby over me?
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna pick a baby over me.
Yeah, baby. But baby did good. You'll like the fight scene, Eli.
Okay.
So then after number 2 gets mad that he doesn't get his way, he attacks the serene island that is the upbringing of this young Robin-aged child that has only known war and violence. It's kind of a weird childhood, I would imagine.
Yes, the son of Batman has had a weird childhood. His entire life. Damian has been training in violence. Like at one point, he even tells a story. I think he's 6 when they make him climb this huge mountain on his own. And I think he breaks his ankle or his wrist. And they're like, you still got to climb the mountain, go. And so he does, right? Like Damian is trying to like, you finish the mission. Nothing else matters. You finished the mission.
Turn your feelings off. You can feel them later.
Yeah.
This kind of reminds me of the movie Kick-Ass. He's got the daughter, but he's like this Batman kind of superhero character. And his daughter is constantly going through these drills, right? And she's way too young to be handling firearms. But he's like, no, that's your firearm. You got to clean it if it jams and all that.
Teaching her ownership. I mean, if she's that responsible, maybe she's not too young.
Yeah, so Damian has had a very strange childhood in his preparation to lead the League of Assassins and to be an immortal.
So he's being raised by the
Ra's al Ghul, his grandfather.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so on this little island where they're training and all this stuff, they get attacked because number 2 is pissed. He's not going to be number 1 to the throne. And so he, if in effect, kills Ra's al Ghul for realsies.
Who does?
This number 2.
Okay, he comes and kills him. All right.
And after he kills him, Talia's like, all right, kid, I took care of you for X amount of years. You're going to go hang out with your dad.
Yes.
And so she just pulls up in Gotham. She's like, yo,
well,
Bruce.
I think her plan is to deal with the problem. And she doesn't want to have to be watching out for Damian during that. And so that is why
assassinated, get him out of danger's way.
Get him out of danger while she kills off this group, this militarized group that killed Ra's al Ghul. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, Slade was hunting them down. The number 2,
Slade. Yeah.
She just told Batman, she's like, "Hey, you have a son. Yep, get over it. Not lying. He's yours." There's like 4 or 5 sentences, 5 at most.
It happens in some pretty intense moments. Like, yeah. So like there's a lot of conflict and people are dying when they're having this conversation about the fact that Damian is his son. So like I said, there's a reason these are short conversations. Like, there's more imminent problems on the occurring. So
okay.
He's yours.
But so then it's a quick drop off. You're the babysitter now. This is your son.
Well, it's his son. He's not a babysitter.
Right.
Jeez.
I mean, this kid climbed a mountain.
Alfred was
6 on his own, right? He doesn't need a babysitter. What he needs is to stop him from killing other people.
He needs a muzzle. He needs a sheath.
Yeah, he needs a muzzle, not a babysitter.
He's quite deadly and feral.
He is skilled and violent and has been raised to not put a lot of value on human life. Like,
Gotcha. All right.
I mean, what else would the leader of the League of Assassins teach you? How to play mahjong? No. So she goes off to fight this guy and ends up getting captured. But we'll go into that in a second. We're going to go into the relationship of Damian and Bruce. Do you have anything follow up, Joe, real quick?
No, I think we're pretty good. Although we do need to take a break.
Let's do it.
So when we get back, Batman will have to meet his son for real, not in the midst of combat, and deal with what the League of Assassin has created.
All right, we are back, and we are going over Son of Batman in the DCAU. This one is tied closely with the League of Shadows, the organization that taught him how to fight in the first place. And they essentially want a super baby out of him because he doesn't want to give them, he doesn't want to lead them. And this angers Mr. Number 2, Slade. So Slade goes and kills Ra's al Ghul. Is that the name? Ra's.
Or Raz. I guess people.
Or Raz.
Yeah.
Raz.
There's some big contention on that one, actually, depending on who you talk to.
And it seems like this is essentially starting a assassin's war. And so the mother of Damian, right? That's his name?
Yeah, Damian.
Decides to go drop him off to Bruce Wayne, his father, hence son of Batman. And then you mentioned they were captured?
She was. She left.
She gets captured.
They don't know about it.
Mm-hmm. But she goes off to fight this assassin's war, which is why she dropped off her son, to get him away from such things. And she's immediately captured, it sounds like.
Well, I don't think immediately, but, not...
Eventually?
Yeah, more of that. Somewhere in between immediately and eventually.
Okay.
Right in the middle there.
And surprisingly?
Yes, she is. Yes, actually, that's what happened. That's how assassins capture people normally. Surprisingly. And so now Batman and Bruce, well, Batman, who is Bruce, has this kid that he's got to have at the mansion. And whenever Bruce tries to go to work, he gets these calls about how the kid escaped. And I think that the one scene that was hilarious is the first time he escapes. Bruce walks into his office and Damian's just there. Your sales are down in Argentina because someone's skimming. Someone's stealing from the company in Argentina, and someone's just like, "That's Argentina. That's my division." Bruce, who is this kid? He's like, "Get out of my office." Shuts the door. And I don't know, it's just a really funny scene because you just see how entitled Damian is. Like, well, I'm entitled to this. Like, this is all my birthright.
Yes,
Like,
this is my
okay.
Even
He
though
looks at
like
it as his empire.
So from birth, Damian has been told you are the son of Bruce Wayne, Batman. Whereas for Bruce Wayne, this kid didn't exist yesterday.
Right.
But
It's
Damian definitely sees himself as the heir of the Wayne Empire.
he was raised as Ra's al Ghul's grandson. That's what he's always called. And Batman's son.
Yeah.
Those are the two things he's called because he is the fusion of the most lethal killer and like leader in history, and then the wisest, the only person who's defeated him.
And apparently well versed enough in accounting to detect embezzlement.
Yes, very quickly.
Okay.
He's taught in everything.
All right.
There was actually a comment on that. Bruce was stuffing him into his car, and he's like, how'd you do that? And he's like, I learned how to hack something when I was, what, did he say 8?
I don't know. Like he's had like his education is weird. Like Damian is not raised like a normal human child at all.
Super baby.
Well, getting the Batman line was about them kind of creating a super baby. Because they're like, Ra's al Ghul is the greatest and the best, and he was beaten by Batman, so we need both to replace Ra's al Ghul, right? Like there is a bit of super baby going on in Damian.
He's not a weakling, and he was trained by professionals since day one.
Yeah. And it's not like the training, like a lot of times, like you get kind of the story of nobility, right? Being trained by the best knights and the best soldiers. And at the same time, they're treating with kid gloves because 1, they don't want the kid to feel bad. And 2, one day that kid will be king and you can't hurt the future king, right? Damian was not treated with kid gloves, right? They were serious about training him to be the best. You know, it's like, and if you kill him, it's okay because we just put him in the Lazarus chamber. He will learn not to die.
So he's raised like a Spartan.
Yes, he's raised like a Spartan.
But an assassin type, because Spartans are. Yeah. My argument is Spartans are taught that your brothers are your shield. Assassins are not taught that one important philosophy. It's like kill everyone who gets in your way. It's like, well, even like your brother who disagreed with you. Yeah. And so it's just very bloodthirsty. It's like anyone who cheats you or lies to you, just kill him. Then we get to Damian spending more time in the Batcave. He's obviously, when he saw the Batcave, he's like, I've heard of this place. And every time he sees something, and this always causes Alfred irritation as you watch the movie, you just see Alfred get more and more irritated with the kid. Smaller than I imagined. Just some spoiled, entitled brat, just like, and this will be your room, Master Damian. I hope it suffices. Because prior to that, he's been complaining about everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the kid's super entitled because he's been raised as you will lead humanity, basically, is what his
humanity
grandfather's pitch was. And you are the son of Batman, the greatest detective, the only person to defeat Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, very spoiled brat. Anyways, while he's in the Batcaves, he sees the Robin costume. And he's like, oh, that's cool. And he's heard about it. And so he starts asking about it and stuff.
But, okay, so in this universe, has Batman had a Robin?
Such a great question. That is an excellent question. So he sees the Robin costume and he asks about it. And, you know, Batman replies and says, well, Dick used to wear that, but he's all grown up. He's moved on to other things. So we now know that Nightwing is in this universe because Dick is now being Nightwing.
Okay.
And then a couple nights go by, maybe just one night. Kid sneaks out again. He gets caught actually by Nightwing. He sneaks out for some reason, tries to kill someone again. And and so Nightwing finds him and beats him up and stops him from killing him. And you should know that Nightwing has a ton of cuts all over his body at the end of that battle. Didn't lose. He did constrain the child. So good for the full adult who's been trained in martial arts at defeating the small child. But he calls Batman, and Batman's just like, talk. It's like super direct. And he's like, well, I have something that I think belongs to you. He's like, I don't have time for games. It's like, well, he says he's your son. It's a really funny scene. And Batman's just like, I'm on my way. And
Kind
so
of
that-
sounds like wrangling like a feral cat that doesn't want to be wrangled. You know, you get them in the end, but you're covered in cuts.
you're not going to get away unscathed. That's exactly what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so they go home, and then he starts training as Robin, and they start doing some stuff together. Joe, did we miss anything up into that point?
No, I think that's it.
Touch on.
So they do have to save Talia, right? Have you gotten to that point yet? They save Talia, and that's where Batman kind of gets the pieces of the story to understand Damian is his son, right? And we get those very few glimpses, whereas like it seems like to really get the story of Talia and Batman, you need to have either played the Arkham games, and there is a romance there, or in the comics. Because, like I said,
she calls him my beloved in this universe, which implies that.
And there's definitely an indication that he did have a real relationship with her, even though Damian is definitely the result of a drug-induced rape.
Yeah, because there's actually a comment in the movie that you'll catch that I thought was funny. After Alfred stitching up Dick from getting cut up by Damian, Dick's like, really? He's his son? And after all he's said to me about using protection.
Yes.
offhand comment. Then you're like, wait, maybe he got drugged.
So, no. Like Batman specifically says to Talia, you drugged me. Right? Like he makes that very specific comment. She drugged him.
Yeah, he put something in her drink. Or vice versa.
His drink. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of Spanish fly or something happened, huh? Okay.
So I don't want to give away like the entire play-by-play of the movie because either go watch it or don't. It's an awesome movie. Mm-hmm. Any other notable comments you want to talk about, Joe?
So a lot of the relationship between Damian and Batman is about the Batman code and getting Damian to understand it and embrace it so that he is Batman's son, not Ra's al Ghul's grandson.
So just teaching him the Bat code.
Yeah.
Don't kill.
Focuses really
not on
closely on what that is.
Well, it's more than don't kill. It is that justice belongs to society, not you. And that's why
to be the symbol, not the person.
Well, and like that's why you can't kill them is because that is not society's justice. Society has said this is justice, and that justice belongs to those people, right? Not just you. You're not the only person they have wronged. You're not the only person impacted by these decisions, and so that is why you're not killing them, right? That is your justice, not society's.
Interesting.
And so it is that code that he is trying to get Damian to embrace. Not only that, but that is a piece of the code that lines up with Damian's understanding. If he is to lead the world in the way that he thinks he is,
he needs to serve the people.
He needs to serve society. Yeah,
exactly.
That's great. Yeah, I'm excited for this one.
It's a great. You see them go back and forth on it a lot, and it's interesting. They
particularly because like Damian is like the killing is convenient. They don't keep causing problems. One and done.
It's the easier solution. Easy has nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
it's about what's doing what's right for no other reason that it's right. That was Batman's speech.
Yeah,
it's going all dad mode. There's also some animosity that you will start to feel. I don't know if you felt it or not, Joe, between Dick and Damian.
Yeah, they definitely are competing for who is the better, whatever.
Dick isn't really competing.
Protege?
Yeah, protege.
Damian's definitely throwing jabs because you can tell he's irate because he was never raised by his father. So you'll see some underhanded comments from him. It's like, I'm his son by blood, and like stuff like that.
Okay.
It's like, okay, yeah, well, he took me out for ice cream. So.
Yeah, so I guess you're right. Like Dick Grayson Nightwing is not competing, but Damian is, right?
But, however, Damian does get good licks in, which makes Dick retort. So sometimes Dick does get irate.
So he does get upset with him, but yeah, he's trying not to engage, but Damian works really hard to provoke him.
Damian's a master at everything, including just using that dagger of his tongue.
It's the little brother poking the older brother, being like, "Look what I can do. I'm better than you at this."
Yeah, Dad loves me more.
Mm-hmm. And the older brother being like, "Whatever,"
Why does that matter?
trying to ignore him until he gets on his nerves.
So the little brother's like, "Well, Dad gave me 2 ice cream scoops on my cone. Well, you never gave me that." And then they fight. I don't know exactly what they argue over, but I imagine it's about ice cream. The next one we will be watching, we actually have 2 coming up. And you can kind of decide which route you want to take, because technically the next one is Aquaman.
Just called Aquaman?
Throne of Atlantis.
Okay.
How would you, if you were Batman, how would you discipline your son so he doesn't go out at night and kill people he thinks are criminals?
That's a tough question. All right. We'll answer that in the treasure room.
If you enjoyed this episode and want more on the topic,
we record a special treasure room for our patrons after every episode. In the regular episode, we go deep. In the treasure room, we go wide. To enjoy the bonus content, sign up at the Fluorite level or higher.
There is a treasure room for every episode from August 2021 and on. That's double the content. 2 episodes a week instead of 1.
Go to www.patreon.com/Flore, fantasy and lore. That's Flore spelled Flore. Select the Fluorite tier or higher. Immediately after each episode is released, the treasure room will post the bonus audio on Patreon. They are identified by the tag Treasure Room After and the title of the episode. You can also do a search for the keywords Treasure Room and find all the content you've been missing. Thanks for listening.
Leave us a review. Tell us why you like listening to us. Is it our awesome deep dives? Is it our amazing back and forth? Is it our charming good looks?
What would you like us to add or change? You can put that in the review as well. We read reviews.
Yeah, and if you're going to be leaving us a review telling us what you like about it, maybe you even want to share the content with your friends. Like and share on social media. You can join us on Twitter and Facebook. We post memes. And we actually started a Discord, so come play with us.
So a lot of the worlds we cover have a retcon. If you're not familiar with that term, it's reconstruction. Or sometimes we might use a bad source for some of our lore research. And if that happens, feel free to email us at florefantasyandlore@gmail.com. That is Flore spelled Flore, fantasyandlore@gmail.com. And if you're angry enough, we'll read it on the air.
Yes, we will. Also, the treasure room is now available. We have locked a few secrets for everything we cover in there. And each week, we add more.
And you can find the treasure room on patreon.com/Flore, fantasy and lore. And how do you spell that, Aaron?
That's lore with an F at the beginning. So it sounds like floor, but it's not the floor you're thinking because it's our floor.
We hope you enjoyed your time on the floor. Think about your favorite part of the episode. Now, think about your nerdiest friend. Who is it? What is their name? They want to know about the floor. Stop holding out on them. Go and tell them about your favorite part.
Because all of this is more fun together.